Hey there, you are listening to the Girl Talk Podcast. My name is Carol.
This is Alicia.
I'm Tricia.
And we are here today to tell you about a situation I went to. I can't say where I was at, but I went to this thing, okay? And there were two individuals in particular who saw me coming into the room and like rolled their eyes.
Oh, jeez.
So that it was very
evident. It wasn't
evident.
me and Tricia.
It wasn't you and Tricia. No. Do y'all do
Never.
that?
No.
Okay.
No, never.
Okay.
That's what I'm
All
saying.
right.
It's not us.
It's one of those situations where I've been enough in the same places with those people that I know that they don't really care for me. Okay.
Are you sure it wasn't something else?
I'm pretty sure. It wasn't
That would
something
be
else.
hard. That hurts my feelings.
It
just
did hurt
hearing
my
about
feelings.
it.
I might turn
So
around.
let
and
me
go
tell
back
you.
out.
Okay, so I've been in several situations where the same kind of thing has happened, and so I started getting a hint. So I'm at home the night after this happened, and I'm like, okay, God's really dealing with me on it. Okay, and so I'm in the shower washing my hair, and God says, okay, so they don't like you. I want you to pray for them. And I was like, I don't want to pray for them.
I know,
Wow.
right?
Smite them. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't want to pray for them. And so I go back and forth, me and God, da-da-da-da-da. So he takes me to Matthew chapter 5. And I've read this verse a million times. You've heard it said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Okay? So that, and it goes on to say, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. Wow. Okay? So I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to like it, do I? And I thought, so I started this process of trying to pray for these two particular individuals.
All right. I'm curious. What
Okay.
was your initial thought before you started?
I wanted to cry. I was very hurt by it because y'all know I'm a people pleaser. I want
I
everybody to
would
like
be
me.
crushed.
Very painful.
I
It's
want
one thing to kind of like get the idea that we just don't have a lot in common, or I don't know if we get along.
Yeah.
But to physically see
and like
that would be very hurtful.
Well, it was because I've really tried to engage these two people in particular, and every time I do, I kind of get shut down. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's something else. And so I began the process to start to pray for someone. And I was like, how, Lord, you're going to have to show me because I don't know how to pray for people who don't like me. Like they just my very existence tends to make them roll their eyes and turn their backs. And so he took me to this verse, and it says, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. I want you to love them, and I want you to pray for them. And I was like, okay, so how do I do that? And so he started me on this journey, and I don't know if you've got anybody who doesn't like you in your life, but if you do, I hope this is going to be helpful for you because I just don't think it's just for me. But so I sat down, and I started thinking about, okay, how do I love them? How do I love them well? And I started thinking about
intently.
it is
You're just
very
taking
hard.
notes.
So I started thinking very intently about their lives, about their kids, about their, about their relationships, all that. So I started praying, okay, God bless them in their marriage. God bless their kids. God bless them in their business. And so I was going through every aspect, and I had this thought. I was like, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll start jotting them a note, and I'll just send it in the mail, just an anonymous note. Hey, I prayed for you today. They won't have to know it's me. And God was like, Carol, what does the scripture say? Love them and pray for them. Don't try to manipulate them. Because I am bad to try to manipulate the circumstance to make myself feel better. Okay?
Was your goal to try to get them to like you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is my goal.
That's the goal.
Please like
I get
me.
that 100%. But you know what I love that you already started doing? You looked for an area of compassion for them. It sounded like to me because you were looking at their lives. You were looking at their families, their kids, or whatever their relationships were, so that you could have some compassion, which I think that's a huge step. You go from these people don't like me or I don't like these people to maybe what are they going through?
Yes.
Because there's got to be some
huge.
reason. I'm thinking, like,
That's
why
huge.
wouldn't someone not like you?
There
Like,
are lots of
there's
reasons.
not.
What, no,
But, like,
nobody's going to like everybody.
Right.
We're not,
I know.
You
that's
know?
the hard.
I
That's
mean,
the hard
we're not
thing,
pizza.
though.
I know. Yes. We're
I heard
not
that
pizza.
one time. Not everybody's gonna like you. You're not pizza.
That's my
But
favorite.
it's true though.
Well,
It's
here's the
hurtful,
thing.
but
I
it's
have a
true.
very big personality, and I realize I'm not for everybody. And there are some people that are scared away and turned off by that, and I get that. And I really, the older I get, the more okay with it I'm getting. But this was something deeper.
But yeah,
you know?
it's kind of that's what I'm struggling with. It's like,
Well-
the eye roll is like a deeper hurt for me.
Well, and
than just I don't like you, because personalities are different, and someone that may be real quiet and reserved, you may be too much for that person. You know,
You could be triggering something in them. And I'm saying that for
They
any of
could
us.
be
Any of us
jealous.
could be triggering someone. It could
but
be
aside
jealousy or
from
it could be
that,
anything.
aside from that, what is the real issue here? And there were a couple of different things that came to the surface for me. One is my people pleasing again. You know, that's been the struggle for me the whole time. And God was like, "Are you willing to love and get nothing in return?" Like, that is when we are most like Christ, is when we love expecting nothing in return.
Yes.
And I honestly have a hard time doing that, because I always expect something in return. He said, you're people pleasing. You need to love and expect nothing in return. And you need to stop, because I'm bad to do things in order to make another thing happen. Like the whole note thing.
Yeah.
Like, my goal would be to be anonymous, but it's not. I don't live in New York City. You know, it's not like it's a big town,
Right.
but they obviously have shared a conversation about me, because when I walked in, they looked at each other, and one of them kind of rolled their eyes, and it was like, you know, here she comes, I thought, and in my, I was like, okay, pride came to the surface for me, and God said, you need to deal with that right there, because are you willing to be made nothing so that I can be glorified through your life? So that you can love and expect nothing in return, and truly love somebody and pray for them. Not that they will like you, because that's not the end goal. So God just kind of went through, he kind of sorted through my motives, and none of them were good.
He's amazing like that. Isn't
Yeah.
he?
And so I was like, okay, so how do I pray for somebody who does not like me and not try to manipulate? And the thing about it was, at the end of my whole conversation with God and my struggling with myself, the problem was not them. The problem was me, because I wasn't secure in who I was. I want everybody to like me, because I was essentially saying, God, you're not enough. I need all these other people to like me. It doesn't matter what you say about me. I need all these other people to like me.
one of my kids' friends is he does not care what other people think. It's like
freeing.
It is. And when he's done, he's done. He's like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm ready to go home. And he just like, hey guys, see you later. Bye. Or if everybody's playing and something's not working out right, most of the kids get really agitated and feelings hurt. Some come home in tears, and he's just like, I'm done. And I'm like, I love that he creates this box for himself, and he's just like, doesn't matter. I don't really care what you think. I'm like, he's confident in himself, and it doesn't matter.
That's pretty cool. I always tend to be a little more Eddie Haskell.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Bieber, or whatever. But God revealed something big to me not that long ago about my people pleasing too. We share that. And it's a deeper issue of pride for me, like you're saying, and the whole like manipulation. It's almost like, I can make you like me. I'm going to figure out how to make you like me. I'm desperate to have you like me. And if you don't like me, then I'm wounded in some deep part. So what you're saying really speaks to me. And I love the question, what is my end goal? What is the motive?
Yeah.
Am I being nice to this person so they'll like me? Or am I being nice to this person so God gets glory? And that question, what is my end goal? What is my motive? Is so powerful. But don't ask it unless you're ready for God to reveal it.
That's so true, because what he revealed to me also was that you're molding yourself to be what they want.
Yeah, that's it. I can make you like me. I'll fit into whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So desperate,
Right.
so desperate. I've always been desperate like that. And it is. It's
It's the equivalent of, you remember when you're in like middle school and you're like, watch this. Like I was always
my
the
soda?
daredevil.
Yeah.
Like people were like, I bet you won't. And that's all it took. I bet you won't. And then I would do whatever would followed that, because I thought it would make me more popular and people would be, oh, she's so crazy, and people would like me. And it really, I'm like, I'm 48 years old, for goodness sake. I ought to have this down by now. But all these things were rising to the top, to the point of when I got done with the conversation, it wasn't about their rejection at all. It was about my insecurity. God kind of turned it inside out and went, okay, this is stuff that you want to deal with. So I initially started the conversation because I wanted them to like me. And God revealed my motive in that and just turned it inside out. And so I just want to encourage you, take some time, spend some time in Matthew 5 where he talks about that and just pray through it with God. I find now more than ever before, I have an easier time having honest conversations with God because I have no clue what I'm doing. Younger, if you'd asked me even 10, 15 years ago, I have a spiritual answer for you. I had all that stuff together and I thought, and then my life fell apart. And I realize now that that's the first place I ought to go. When my feelings get hurt, and you know what, usually our reaction is, well, I'm just not going to talk to them. I'm just going to stay away from them. But our paths kept crossing. And you would not believe, the weirdest places. I'll show them somewhere I'm not usually, and they'll be there. Or the grocery store, I've run across them. So, and every time God's saying, you're to love them, you're to pray for them. You're to love them, you're to pray for them. You're to love them, you're to pray for them. And expect nothing in return. Nothing.
But
so
you still got a blessing.
But
you still did.
So has that been better now?
One of the people has responded in a positive way, but I haven't let that. I've just tried to be consistent in my love for them and to just show honest concern and to listen. And I'm also that scripture God keeps throwing at me: be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to become angry. And so that whole verse was on my mind whenever I was in interaction. One of the people that their kid actually has taken a liking to me, and so we've interacted on several occasions. And so it's just weird the way that God is forming it. But and one day I hope that maybe I'll be able to share with him, do you know what God taught me through you? But even in that, I don't know.
But you got such a blessing from it. You have grown spiritually from it.
It was not a blessing.
It didn't feel like
it
but
wasn't.
I'm hearing it from a different perspective because I didn't have to live through it.
Right.
And I'm hearing you say, God taught me this about myself, and now I'm doing this. And you're taking steps down your path because you were obedient. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Not easy,
No,
but awesome.
It's not easy, but I think when it becomes easy, we've stopped growing.
That's truth.
I'm just, the older I get, the more I realize that if it's easy, I need to be nervous about that.
Right.
Because you're not learning anything. You're not growing in any way. So when it gets easy, you might ought to take a look at that too. But I also have realized that you can't be afraid to pray bold prayers. And when God reveals that kind of stuff to you, he's doing that not to condemn you, but actually to make you more like himself. Yes. And that ought to encourage us all, that he is so patient with us to teach us these things, to make us more like himself. And that's the goal, right? The end goal is not perfection. I'm not going to do it right every time. And I'm probably not doing it right now, honest to goodness. But the thing is, the goal is not perfection. The goal is progress.
Truth.
And I haven't made any progress in my relationship with them that I know of. But I've made progress in who I am and who I really want to be.
And your relationship with God.
Yeah.
That's progress.
And there's safety in knowing that if he points something out, he's going to give me the strength and help me do whatever it is he's calling me to do. I don't have to do it by myself. So I hope that was helpful to you, because if it was, helpful for me. It's just has been a real struggle. It's
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you've got ideas or tips or scriptures you'd like to share with us, boy, we would love to hear them. And not because we're people pleasers and we just need you to communicate with us, but because we're all on this journey together and we're taking it one step at a time. So if you've ever struggled with praying for somebody who doesn't like you or rolls their eyes when they see you or turns their back and runs the other way, we totally get it. And we would love to hear from you. Always a joy for you to gather with us here for the Girl Talk podcast. Just want to throw in there real quick that if you like the podcast, would you share it with a friend? You can like us on iTunes, leave a review. That always helps. That helps us get in front of more people, not, again, so that we can be in front of more people, but we believe that Christ has the ability to change lives through honest conversations like this. And that is our prayer. That's been our prayer from the beginning for the Girl Talk podcast. So if you would share it, write us a review, that would always be something real sweet you could do to help the Girl Talk podcast. And we'll see you next time we gather around these microphones for the next Girl Talk podcast.